Welcome to another day of Bhagavad Gita Sadhana. It's wonderful to have you back if you're returning. And also, I may have a couple of newer viewers today I talked to over the weekend. So, as a quick recap, I'm Atmadarshan or Laura, and I've published some original translations of the Bhagavad Gita. One of the key concepts of this text that conveys yoga philosophy so beautifully is Samatvam, equanimity, or the ability to be yourself in all situations. Remember that the literal translation of Samatvam is sama, same, and tvam is true or real. So, one way to look at it is you're your true, real self, the same all the time. And the Gita provides many different um, examples of extremes that might take you out of yourself, such as um, hot or cold. It's late summer here where I am, excuse me, and the conventional wisdom is that when it gets hotter, people get crankier, which is true for me. And when it gets cold, people act differently too. They go inside, they huddle up. I mean, that's defined as an adaptation. But if we're really going to let every little thing, every little change, every little swing affect who we are, so if we let the hot and the anger of the hot take us out of who we are, that we become um, people we don't like to be or don't feel that we are. In fact, we could even say that later. That wasn't me. Why would I do that? That's not me. Ideally, we're ourselves. We're taught in our culture often to hide ourselves, and especially sometimes when we're trying to do spiritual work, we may see ourselves as something that needs to be covered up. We have to act a certain way if we're going to be spiritual, right? And that's actually the opposite of what the Bhagavad Gita says. And the epitome of spiritual development, the pinnacle, is Krishna, said to be an embodiment of the divine, and actually symbolizing that we are an embodiment with a divine spark within. And he's talking to his best friend and also his devotee, Arjun, who is in a heck of a situation and doesn't know what to do and finds himself becoming not himself. Arjun's usually brave, confident. He takes action decisively, and right now he's not there, and he's going, my world is falling apart. What do I do? So one topic we've been looking at for the past few days, oh boy, lawn care. I don't know if you can hear this with the microphone, but bear with me if you can. So one of the topics, the subtopics to Samatvam we've been looking at over the past several days is the idea of memory. Memory, as we've discussed, and you can go back to previous videos if you missed this, can be extremely helpful. For example, if you're having a surgical procedure, your body afterwards remembers, oh, I was this way. I wasn't cut apart. I was together, and it heals that up, right? It strives for that remembered state of being. But memory can also be non-beneficial to us and our relationships to others. And the specific way I'm thinking of today, I mentioned a little yesterday. So we do a balanced pose to center our mind, and then a contemplation to explore or even manage our mind. And much of the contemplation time that I spend with you all is not really contemplative. I'm like, I want to remember to say this at the end, or I have to remember to announce this event, and my mind is going, I have to remember. And then at the end, I often forget anyway. But it takes away from me being present and from me being able to connect with myself, because I'm worried. And mostly I'm worried about what you would think. And if I knew nobody was watching this, I'd probably not give a wahoo, So that's one way memory is affecting me. And I find I share my experience because sometimes the personal is universal as a human being. Like, for example, when I talk with people, if they make a really good point, but then they go on, instead of listening, I'm going, I have to remember that point they made and address it. Or, oh, they bring this up and I have to remember to say this. Or even, oh, they're bringing up something that's affecting me, but I have to remember the role that I'm playing in this situation. And oftentimes, instead of being spontaneous and being fully present, the memory gets in the way. This could even be seeing somebody after years, and instead of seeing them for who they are, you bring all this stuff, even if it's been a decade, and you put that on them, and you're not seeing the person for who they are. You're still seeing a memory, and you're relating to that memory instead of to the person. That can be very, very hard for people in this country who've been incarcerated and really tried to change, or anybody that's tried to change. And yet, those close to them or those they interact with want to see them as the same old person. Then, why not just default back to that? Because it's easier, right? So we can do ourselves and others and our relationships a huge favor if sometimes we can let memory go and be right here in the moment, in the present. That's what we will focus on today. And before I forget, memory, I also want to mention a very happy birthday to Laura and Lisa. It's great to reconnect with you. And a quick story for them, maybe for you. So, my name is Laura, and one of you is Laura. I have a sister, Linda, but my sister Linda was actually born and given the name Lisa. But later, her name was changed about a year later to Linda. So we were a Laura and a Lisa too. Now we're a Laura and a Linda. And it's interesting because that was young enough and long enough ago, I don't even remember her being called Lisa. So that's interesting when we were talking about memory. All right. If you remember and have been doing this for a bit, it's one-footed prayer pose, but you can do whatever version you like. You can sit down for it, lie down for it, hands can be up, down, toes can stay on the ground. Let's see if I remember how tall I am today. All right. Come to one foot. And now we switch sides. All right. Now a little contemplation. And I do invite you to reflect during this contemplation time. You can do any contemplation or meditation if you have your own practice. But if not, or if you want something different, reflect on how your capacity for memory may sometimes get in the way for 5 minutes. You can sit, you can lie down, anything that makes you comfy. Boop. That was 5 minutes. Welcome back. So many things came up today, so many memories. It can be interesting to observe them. They can be useful. Memory is like any other tool, it can be useful, but it can also get in the way of us experiencing the moment and living life fully. So today I invite you to notice when and if that happens. Feel free to share your comments below. Email me, text me, numbers on our website. So until I get to see you again. Mwah.